Are you ready for a pixie book? Come on and listen in! With stories full of wonder, it's time now to begin. Oh, hello there, children. Let's hop on to another great tale together. Oh, hello to you as well, Storybook. What have you got for us today? Oh, the ant and the grasshopper. Oh, how wonderful! Let's begin. It was during the summer days when birds were flying over clear blue skies. The sun was shining on fields of grass and flowers, and the air was warm. Resting with his back to a tree trunk was a grasshopper lying around lazily. He would spend his summer days singing and dancing without a care in the world, just having a good time. Every day, he would watch a tiny ant carrying around foods. Not burgers and fries, though. She carried seeds and other ant foods from all around the fields to her home. Busy and persistent, she would work hard from dawn till sunset, carrying food to her home, not wasting any time. Quite a few times, he stopped her on her way as she was walking, carrying a seed that is twice her size, heavy on her back, and said, "Little ant, why are you working so hard? Come join me in my dance. Look how beautiful it is around us." And the ant, breathing heavily from effort, replied, "Oh, no, sorry, Grasshopper. I must bring food to my home. There's no time to waste." And she would walk away, and the grasshopper would stay there, shrug his shoulders, and go back to doing nothing all day. One day, as the grasshopper once again stopped the ant in her tracks and tried to convince her to join him in his lazy fun, she put down the seed on the ground with a big thump and said, "Sorry, Grasshopper, I can't. I need to make sure this seed gets in my home before nighttime." "But why?" the grasshopper wondered. "You go around working so hard every day. Why do you need so much food? Well, you're such a tiny ant." "Because when winter comes, my friend, this food will feed me through it, when everything here will be covered in snow." The grasshopper laughed. Winter? Winter won't come for 1,000,000 days. How silly, working so hard every summer day for a winter that is so far away. But the ant paid him no mind. She shook her head, picked up the seed, and continued on her journey, collecting food for the winter time. And the grasshopper would laugh at her from afar, leaning on the tree trunk, singing songs to himself. This went on for days and weeks and months. The ant working hard and collecting food, and the grasshopper hanging around doing nothing but sing and dance. But alas, winter did come. The days were shorter. The skies turned gray with thunderclouds, the ground wet from the rain, whilst the ant was cozy and comfortable in her home, with plenty of food to last her all season. But the grasshopper had it much worse. Cold, hungry, and alone, he searched and searched for food, but couldn't find any. He became more worried every day that passed. And when snow began falling and covering the ground, he lost his place to sleep, too. He wandered around, exhausted, until he came upon the ant's home. Weary and weak, he knocked on the door. She opened it, and behind her he could see a warm fire crackling in the fireplace, sheltered from the snow and the rain. "Dear Aunt," he said to her, shaking in the cold air, "I'm hungry and freezing. Could I make maybe to take shelter with you this winter, share your food and your fire? The ant crossed her arms. Oh, so now you regret doing nothing all summer and want me to give you the food I worked so hard for while you were laughing at me? No. No. You should have thought about it before slacking off all summer, she said, angry. The grasshopper lowered his head. I'm sorry for laughing at you. You were right. I was irresponsible, and now I suffer the consequences, he said, turning around and walking away, hugging himself as the freezing wind blew at him. Little icicles hanging from his antennae, the ant went back inside her warm shelter, closing the door behind her. She tried to go on with her night as usual, but couldn't stop thinking about the grasshopper for hours. He really is freezing out there, she thought. He has nothing to eat and nowhere to go. He might not survive the winter like this. She sat there and kept thinking, glancing at her window, watching the snow pile high over the ground. At last, her guilt grew too heavy on her. She put on her big scarf and went outside, searching for the grasshopper. She didn't take too long to find him, as he was getting so weak and couldn't walk that far away. She found him curled up on the ground, shaking, his body almost blue in color. She felt so bad for turning him away, and seeing him like this tug at her heartstrings. Come with me, she said, helping him get up. They walked slowly towards her home, the grasshopper leaning on her, for he was so weak. He came into her home, and she took care of him until he grew stronger. And so he took shelter with her throughout the freezing cold winter, ate her food, and shared her fire. After a while, the winter was finally gone. Thank you so much for everything, my dear friend. I'm very grateful, said the grasshopper to the ant. He left her house and went back to his life, but they remained very good friends. When summer came, not only did the grasshopper work hard to prepare for the next winter, he even saved extra food and gifted it to the ant as a thank you for her kindness. The end. Well, the grasshopper sure did learn his lesson, didn't he? Say, children, what do you think we could learn from this tale?
If you like our stories, click on the like button. And if you want to hear more stories, just subscribe to PixieBooks.